Hello, my name is Ben Watara, and welcome to today's episode of the I Am Possible podcast. And in today's episode, I would like to talk about a couple of quotes that I've been hearing ever since I was a child. And I believe that it's important that we look at certain quotes, certain sayings that just because we hear certain things a lot doesn't mean that they're true. And that we evaluate them as well, because it can have an impact on our beliefs and sometimes could be limiting beliefs. And the quote that I wanted to pick out today, actually I have two quotes that are kind of connected to each other, but I'm going to pick the first one. And the first one is quality over quantity. Did you hear that before? Quality over quantity. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And you see, I believe that it's important as well not to generalize, because there are certain settings where this is valid. This is, in my opinion, justified to say it's not about quantity, it's about quality. For example, when it comes to family, for example, friendships, where you say it's not about the amount of friends you have, it's the quantity, the quality of the connections that you have with people. And it's not about the quantity of time that you spend with people, it's about the quality time, right? So you can spend a lot of time with people, but you're not connected to them, or you're distracted, you're doing something else, then you're not really spending time with them. Or at work, for example, if you could be somewhere for 8 hours, but the quality of your work is not really high, you're not productive, you're getting distracted, so the quality is not really there, you're just putting in the hours, right? So that's somewhere where I really believe that that could apply, where it's just like if you have quality focus, then you can get so much more done. But then again, if you have quantity and quality, then so it's not one over the other. But if we look at one over the other, there are a couple of exceptions as well, because I see that a lot in artists, for example. Because when you talk about quality, now you have different standards of quality. You can have a standard of quality that is much higher. You have a very high standard that is not even needed. Like, if it's, for example, in arts, like if you want to paint something or write a book or make music or create anything that you believe needs to have a certain standard of quality, but other people don't have that same standard. So I know so many artists that would sit down, and I include myself, you sit down sometimes for hours writing something and you think, wow, this song is the best, or this, creation is the best. And then other people are going to love something that you just did in 5 minutes. And they're going to say, yo, I love this one. So what is really the quality now? You cannot define the standard of quality when it comes to art. That's why sometimes it's the best to just put out everything that you do. I believe that, for example, artists like Michael Jackson, or Prince, I heard that they had thousands of songs that they created, that they wrote, that never came out. Because when they released an album, they were restricted to putting out 20 songs or 15 songs. Now they have to decide from the 200 songs that I have, which are the 20 best ones? Which one is going to become a hit? And we're just going to limit to these 20. But if they release 200 songs, maybe everyone is going to pick their 20 best. So that's why, you really don't know what quality is. And when you put out the quantity, now people can decide what is quality for them. So there are different areas where this works, other areas where maybe it doesn't work that much when you have quality control, when you have certain products that you want to put out. But even there, you have a lot of brands that put out prototypes before they really have the final version. Even the iPhone, they release it and then they will have upgrades, and every month they're just going to keep working on making the platform better and better and better, but it's good enough for people to start to use it. So they just put it out, and then you're able to just get much more done in a shorter period of time, going back to the 80-20 principle. But one aspect that I really wanted to talk about when it comes to quality over quantity is because, a lot of people that believe quantity over quality, I put them in the category of perfectionists or perfectionistic tendencies. And I count myself in with that as well. I battle with that a lot, because you feel something is not good enough yet, or you're not good enough yet. You're not ready. It's not the right time now. You still need to learn more. You need to research more. You need to perfect it. You need to make it better. You need to, and then you just keep, working on a small little edges before you put something out, and it just takes so long. So many people are waiting. They have projects, they have products, they have ideas, they have concepts, but they're not really manifesting them because they're waiting for that perfection. They're waiting for that quality. And that quality could be so many different forms and shapes. It could be, like how good it is, how perfect it is, how perfect the timing is, that you need so many different elements that will make up the quality. And now this can restrict you. This can make your project or dream impossible because you're waiting for that. Now, I think that quantity is the bridge to quality. And I'll explain to you why. Because in many cases, and I always say in many cases, not always, but in many cases, going through quantity will get you to quality. Let's take even the example that I just brought with art. I mean, to become a good songwriter, to become a good singer, to become a good writer, to become good at any skill you want to learn, you have to go through the quantity of repetitions. You have to do it over and over and over and over again. How do you want to become a good speaker if you don't speak? A lot of people say, I'm afraid of speaking, public speaking. Well, you have to start speaking. If you want to be, do. So you start. Are you going to be good in the first time you go on stage? You might be good. You might be a natural talent. But if you do it 50 times or 100 times, you're going to be better and better and better. And now you're improving the quality. How? Through the quantity of repetitions you go. So even me recording this podcast right now, my first episode is not going to be as good as my 50th or 100th episode because I'm getting better through every time that I do it. You're going through the motions, you're going through the repetitions. So the quantity is getting me the quality. Same thing goes with fitness. You have people that you will not get a quality body without going through the quantity of workouts. You need to go from workout to workout to workout to workout. You don't have the one perfect workout. And if you bring out 100 songs, the probability that one will become a hit, and if you define that as quality, is bigger if you have the quantity. Even Michael Jackson, that only released 20 songs, he wrote 100 and he picked 20 from these 100. So he had the quantity and he picked from that quantity to have the quality. But now there's a small element that we have to be careful about, because that brings me to the second quote: practice makes perfect. Because that's the thing, right? If quantity, the repetitions, get you to quality, it's the same thing as practice makes perfect. You just keep practicing. Well, I believe that we have to be very careful with this quote, practice makes perfect. Because if you practice the wrong thing, you're not going to be perfect. If you go to the gym every single day and you have the wrong diet and you have the wrong training plan, you're not going to change your body. If you try to learn any skill and you have the wrong map, you're trying to reinvent the wheel and you don't know how it goes, you're trying to become a salesperson and you go out there and you're trying to sell, and every single day you go out there, you do exactly the same thing, you're not improving, then the repetitions are not really going to make you perfect. The practice is not going to make you perfect. The right practice will make you perfect. And what is the right practice? Well, that is something that we have to discover and figure out, because that's where the balance comes in. A lot of people, they want to go out there and be perfect from the start. Well, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So don't wait and don't delay. Start today. That's the goal. That you have to start as a beginner. Every master was once a beginner, and a beginner begins. Where do you begin? You begin where you are right now. You begin now. You begin today. You start before you're ready. But then it's very important that you start adjusting. So you need to evaluate. You do something, and then you have to observe yourself. And the best way to be able to evaluate and measure what you do is with help from someone that already reached that level. So you get a mentor, you get a teacher, you read a book, you start to surround yourself with concepts and ideas, because when something is theory, it's very difficult to really evaluate it. You need to try it out. You need to experiment. That's what, everyone that is doing experiments is doing. Just try one thing, it doesn't work. Then they try something else, it doesn't work, and they try something else. But every single time they have to evaluate. They can't redo the same thing over and over again. They just say, oh, I found a way that didn't work. Now, when you start to go back to your theory and you read that book again, you might understand it better, because now you have experience. And now you start to adjust it. And then you go through the quantity. So the quantity means repetitions. But if after every repetition you evaluate, you adjust, the quality is improving from each repetition to the next. So now you actually have gradual quality improvement through the quantity. And now we can imagine it like a staircase. You just have stairs with one level after the other. And you don't have one level and then boom, you have mastery. It's like stairs. And each step is the quantity. The quantity of steps builds you up to the quality of where you want to be. And that's the journey from where you are, the rise to the top. And a lot of people, unfortunately, I don't say unfortunately, it's a mind trick, because we have this vision, we have this big goal that we want to achieve, and we visualize, but a lot of times we don't see how we get from where we are to where we want to be. And we just see that it's such a big jump. But we want to have that quality without going through the quantity of repetitions that a lot of times are not going to be perfect and can be criticized sometimes. We might look at it and we don't feel proud looking back maybe, or in the moment. And a lot of people don't want to go through the pain of not being perfect or not being as good as they see themselves in their own minds. But then they stay mediocre for the rest of their lives. So, just take these quotes with a grain of salt when it comes to quality over quantity. I believe that it is valid in certain circumstances, but in others, it can be very crippling, especially when you're a perfectionist. A lot of times, it's the 80-20 rule. Like 20% of what you do will get you 80% of the result. And a lot of time, 80% is all you need to get started. And then you keep improving on that. But most people want 100%. And if they don't have the 100%, they're not putting things out. They're not starting. And that's what's keeping them from being successful. And the quality the standard of quality that you create in your own mind is the most crippling. Because a lot of times it's not even what's necessary. It's not even what's needed. But it's something that you created for yourself. So just try to look at your life and see some of the areas where you maybe are procrastinating, or certain things where you feel like, it's not ready yet, or it is actually ready, but you're not putting it out, or you want to bring it out with a bang, and you feel like you want to have this big launch, and you don't want to start small. You feel like, no, it needs to be done in this way or that way, and that's the right timing and the right setting and the right circumstances need to be this, and if it's not that, then I'm not willing to put it out. And you're really creating these almost impossible quality standards that are staying in your way. And you're not getting the repetitions in. You're not getting the experience in. And you can only evaluate and readjust after you did something. So just get out there and start before you're ready. You don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. So don't delay and start today. Until you stop breathing, never stop to grow. And always remember,